We create the official long-term planning projections for the state, which consider economic and demographic changes for the next 40 years. In that work, we continue to see growth statewide, although the intensity and location of that growth varies. Our work anticipates the most new residents to be added to existing population areas: Salt Lake, Davis, Beaver, Washington, and Ashe counties. The fastest growth is anticipated to continue in areas that have recently experienced high rates of growth, including Wasatch, Juab, and Iron counties. Moderate growth is anticipated for other counties throughout northern Utah, with some areas in southeastern and central Utah experiencing more limited change or even decline. This work is developed using several data inputs, including changing trends in births, deaths, and the economy. In addition to overall population change, these variables provide insights into our demographic characteristics. We anticipate the population will continue to age, our households will be smaller, and will continue to become more racially and ethnically diverse. As I mentioned, we've recently seen more people moving into the state, driving our growth, and we anticipate that trend to become the norm in the 2040s. With these insights comes the opportunity to think about the future of Utah. And since 1967, the University of Utah and/or the Governor's Office of Planning and Budget has created these population projections to think about the future and to help chart a path forward. We're excited that the Gardner Institute long-term planning projections are part of this conversation to help Utahns guide our growth into the future.
Well, good morning. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Governor Cox, for the opportunity to speak on something from a business perspective that I feel strongly about. And it's Utah, a place that we love, a place that we've chosen to raise our family. You can't sit here this morning and not look to the west and realize that we're all the beneficiary of people that went before us, that planned, that had foresight, and made hard decisions so that we could enjoy the greatest state in the country. And I applaud Governor Cox's proactive leadership in doing the same thing today that will guide us for decades to come. As I mentioned, I'm a Utahn. I'm a fifth generation Utahn. I love this place. We raise our family here. We choose to do business here. And we're at the forefront of saying that it is the greatest state in the union. As has been mentioned, it's also the fastest growing state. The population, as we've heard today, will grow from 3.3 million to 5.5 million by 2060. And how we grow matters to all of us. From a business perspective, we need to be mindful of affordable housing. We need to be mindful of where people can come and relocate when we recruit, where they can raise families and have housing affordability. We're mindful of infrastructure, transportation, getting goods and services around the Wasatch Front and throughout rural Utah. Businesses need to be mindful of green space, hiking trails. The things that make Utah the greatest state in the country also are the things that we have to preserve to ensure that they're here for decades to come. And that doesn't just happen. We can be acted upon or we can choose to act. And this survey is going to provide data that will inform decision making for our leaders and lawmakers. That's critically important so that we're not acted upon, but that we can act in a proactive manner and ensure that, again, for decades, we have opportunities to enjoy the quality of life that we have today. Now, a couple years ago, we had a chance to buy the master plan community in South Jordan, Daybreak. And we realized that there was forethought that started decades ago into laying out a community with intelligent growth, with investment in infrastructure. I remember 15 years ago when they started to lay down tracks lines and build a track station, that it was a barren wasteland. Today, the stop in Daybreak, as I understand it, is the busiest stop on the red line. That type of forethought and vision will help guide us into the future, and it's critically important for businesses. So I'm here to encourage business leaders across the state to engage in the survey, to encourage your employees to engage in the survey. Good data will inform good decision making. And again, I applaud Governor Cox for leading out on this in Lower Hanson. Thank you.
Hello, thank you all for being here. I want to thank the governor, the lieutenant governor, the Senate president, Speaker of the House, and all of the many organizations that have helped us pull this great project together. This has been a true team effort. We have worked very, very closely with Envision Utah, with Wasatch Front Regional Council, the League of Cities and Towns, many, many others on the development of this survey. So the survey itself is now live. You can go to guidingourgrowth.utah.gov and you can access it there. You can also scan the QR code that you see here on the screen. The survey will be open until August 31st, at which time we'll close that and we'll start our phase 3 of the project. Just a little bit about what you'll see when you log in. So the survey is designed to meet people where they are in Utah. So as Mallory said, the growth in Utah is not evenly distributed across all of the different parts of the state, right? So as you enter the survey, you'll be asked to enter in your zip code. And based on your zip code, you'll be directed to one of 3 different surveys, one for urban areas, one for rural areas that are growing, and one for areas that are experiencing slow to no growth. That way, if you happen to live in Wayne County, we're not talking about skyscrapers and public transit. You're getting feedback that's or questions that are more tailored to your community. So in phase 1 of this effort, we visited every single region in the state in person for a bunch of different workshops. We did, I think, 15 in-person workshops. We asked the public about what they care about. And we heard 4 key issues. Sorry, yes, 4 key issues. 4 key issues that came up. And none of these will surprise you. Housing affordability, water availability, transportation convenience, and then preservation of open space and recreational activities. So the survey itself is organized around these 4 categories. So you'll see a different topic for each. And then there's 2 different parts to it. There is a part where we are asking people to explore different growth options, different ways that we can organize our growth. We could grow this way, and here are the pros and cons, or we could do it this way, and here are the pros and cons. Just allowing people to experience the trade-offs and learn about the impacts of different decisions. The second piece of the survey is a section we're calling Big Ideas. And here we list a bunch of really tactical strategies, maybe policy decisions, maybe strategic investments that we could make to help move us towards our desired future. All of the ideas that you see there were submitted with the public partners sharing and soliciting input. So everyone always wants to know, well, what is the goal with this? What are you going to do with all of this public information once you collect it? We are hoping that this results in action. We don't want this to just be an exercise where we say, hey, good job, we got some good information and set it on the shelf. We really want this to develop into maybe some strategic investments that might end up in the governor's budget recommendations, maybe some policy solutions that the legislature takes and implements into legislation, or that we share with local decision makers and we do an educational campaign around the importance of and the options associated with some of those ideas. Our goal here is not to replace I don't know what the word is, replace local planning processes. Our goal here is to support those local planning processes with public information so that as communities or organizations like Wasatch Front Regional Council, as they're putting their regional plans together, can say, here's the public input, here are the things that the public supports, here are the things that they're not so supportive of. And I think just a final parting word with you, the reason that Utah is a great place to live today is because of past planning efforts like this in the past. Some will say, haven't we done this before? Yes, we have, but we need to keep doing it. We keep growing, we keep changing, and we need to keep having these conversations, and that's going to make sure that we're a beautiful place to live in the future. You all have these little lapel pins. We hope that you use this as a conversation starter. Wear it around over the summer through August, and if somebody says, hey, what's that about? You say, oh, there's this great survey. Do you care about the future of your community? Go to guidingourgrowth.utah.gov. And with that, I'll turn it back to the governor. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for your leadership and for helping guide our growth. We so appreciate it. All right, we do have some time for questions. You can ask questions of anyone here who has spoken already. If you have any, I think we'll do some one-on-ones as well, if that's easier for you. Any questions?
I'll take it for a one-on-one. Quick question. So this is phase 2. How many total phases and what's the timeline? For
Yeah,
all
so
of them?
Laura, go ahead.
Thank you. Great question. This is phase 2. There are 3 phases of the process. The third phase is where we take all this public input and kind of decide, okay, what do we want to do with this, right? We've got a lot of great information. What is the next step to make this implementable? We have contemplated a potential phase 4, which is sort of an educational campaign about we got the input, we developed the solutions, now promoting the solutions to the public. But that's in the future. Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, survey will be open until August 31st, and then our phase 3 will conclude at the end of the calendar year.
In time for the legislative session.
Right.
Yeah. Other questions? All right. Seeing none, thank you all for joining us. Again, I just want to highlight something that Laura mentioned. We have done this before, and that's the best part about Utah. We don't just do things once. We keep doing them. We keep improving. We appreciate our partners, public partners, private partners. This is also what Utah does best. All of us working together to determine what we want our future to look like. The future is really bright. We're really proud now. Officially, I've always said we were the best state in the nation, but it's fun when somebody else says it. And but we won't keep it unless we're intentional about the way we grow. We know these challenges are here. We're feeling it. We're feeling it every day. You're feeling it. Our kids are feeling it. We want to make sure that this is a place where our kids and grandkids can live the same types of amazing lives we have. I see this all the time. Growth is neither good nor bad. Growth is neutral. It's up to us to determine whether it's good or whether it's bad. And there are plenty of examples of bad growth. There are lots of examples of good growth. And we have plenty of those good examples right here because, as Steve mentioned, a lot of people made a lot of sacrifices and a lot of investments before we were here. And we certainly owe that to the future of Utah. Thank you so much for joining us.